I don't really have a special intro for this one. It's kind of, we're going to be going over all of the trades from the trade deadline, all the major ones, not all the minor ones. But yeah, we'll be going over all the major trades from the trade deadline, all the ones that TSN have marked as a major trade. I'm going to be scrolling through. Before we get into this video, QR code right there, link in the description. You know what it is. It's Fanatics. Check it out. Use my affiliate link. You can cop jerseys like all those ones in the back. And this Seattle Kraken jersey, if you want a nice one. Don't get Yanni Gourde though. That was a mistake. I got this in their first year, so I've had it for 4 years. Also, check out my new franchise mode series with the Quebec Nordiques, so we take them from a 33rd expansion team to hopefully Stanley Cup only using Canadian players. We only picked Canadian players. In the expansion draft, we can only trade for Canadian players, we can only sign, and we can only draft Canadian players. Check out that series. Give me feedback on it, what you guys would like to see on it, and always make sure to subscribe. At the end of the video, it's going to be right down there. You can also just go down there and subscribe, or if you're on mobile, you can do it as well. But yeah, it would mean a lot if you guys subscribe, if you enjoy the content, check out that series, and yet again, QR code, link in the description, check out Fanatics. Alright, let's get right back into the video. Alright, the first trade we're going to be going over is the Yanni Gourde trade with Oliver Bjorkstrand and a 5th round pick going the way of Tampa Bay. In exchange is Michael Eyssimont, a 2nd round pick and 2 1st round picks, 2026, 2027 for the first, 2025 2nd round pick, and then a 2026 5th round pick that's going to Tampa. For Tampa, I love this deal. Maybe a little too much, but yet again, every time we say that, we said that with Hagel, it ended up being a good trade. Like 2 1st round picks, I think, what they gave up for Hagel. We're like, that's way too much. Hagel turns out pretty good. Gourde, a little older. Definitely just that depth guy who they wanted. Bjorkstrand, if they keep him around, I think he has term. I forget. But yeah, if they keep Oliver Bjorkstrand around, then it would definitely be a good trade. I like it for Tampa. They're stacking up just like all the other teams are doing. I don't care what the price is. Those other teams are building up. You need to build up. So yeah, honestly, I like it. And for Seattle, I like it even more. They got really good draft capital and value back for 2 players who, Bjorkstrand, he's got 38 points in 63 games, 17 goals, 21 assists, have a pretty good year. I think he's having an amazing year comparative to his other years. And yeah, Gourde is falling off a little bit. He's not as good as he used to be, but he's still a really serviceable 3rd-line center. So yeah, I like the trade for both teams. Tampa gets 2 players they need right now for the cup run, and Seattle gets 2 1st-round picks, a 2nd-round pick that they can use to build up their team in the future. The next trade, other than Mikko Rantanen, the biggest player on the market, going to Colorado with William Dufour, and that biggest player being Brock Nelson in exchange for Oliver Killington, who they flip for future considerations right away. So he's out of that. A conditional 3rd round pick, which sure. Callum Ritchie, which is pretty big, but on top of that, a 2026 1st round pick. I think the Islanders did really good in this deal. Colorado, they needed that 2nd-line center. They went out and got that 2nd-line center. It's a good deal for Colorado. I like it. And then, yeah, getting Callum Ritchie, getting a 1st round pick for the New York Islanders. Amazing deal. I don't really have to go over that. Just win-win for both teams. If Colorado wins the cup, it's a huge win. Brock Nelson will hopefully be a huge piece of that. And getting Callum Ritchie and a 1st round pick. I thought they might have just got Callum Ritchie. Callum Ritchie is a pretty good prospect. The next trade, Jake Wallman going to Edmonton in exchange for Carl Berglund and a conditional 2026 1st round pick. Now, I'm not sure what the condition is for the pick. I think it might be protection, because it is a 2026 1st round pick. Might be top 10 protection. And Jake Wallman, who, yeah, the Oilers need defense. It's a good trade to go out and grab some defense. All they have to get rid of is a 1st round pick. I'm all for it for the Oilers. They stack up. Hopefully they can make a push for their team. I'm a Canucks fan. Always cheering on their downfall. But yeah, hopefully they can make a push. The next major trade, we didn't expect this one. Like, we probably thought Wallman would get dealt to San Jose as a seller. We knew Brock Nelson was going to be out there. We just didn't know if Lou was going to sell. We knew Yanni Gourde and Bjorkstrand were probably on the move. The next one, Dylan Cousins, we did think would be on the move with Dennis Gilbert and a 2nd round pick. With the 2 that I didn't think, Jacob Bernard-Docker and Josh Norris going the other way to Buffalo. yeah, I think this deal is very risky, yet can be rewarding for both teams. Josh Norris has injury concerns. He's making a little bit more than Dylan Cousins, I'm pretty sure. And ESPN's not putting up their contracts. I don't know why I clicked here. But yeah, I think he's making a little more than Dylan Cousins. And he's injury prone. So that's a thing. You just got to be careful for injuries. And Dylan Cousins is more just, he could end up just not picking up with Ottawa and being a okay player. Getting the defenseman to help build up your blue line from Buffalo with Jacob Docker is pretty good in case they have to move Byram in the offseason. And Bernard Docker can hopefully slot up in that lineup. Getting Dennis Gilbert in a second round pick. I don't know if it's Danny Gilbert or defensive player. I'm not sure if he's playing in the NHL at this moment. He was playing. He played 26 games for Ottawa this year. He has 5 assists. So he'll be like that depth defenseman for Ottawa. Sorry, the games were for Buffalo. ESPN just changes the thing. A second round pick. I like this trade for both teams because it's equally as risky and equally as rewarding. This could be. Oh, nope, it's not down there. Okay. This next trade, I see a condition. So that's why I thought go down to the Oilers. But the next trade is Scott Laughton to the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for, along with the 4th and 6th in exchange for Nikita Gerbenkin and a conditional 2027 first-round pick that's top 10 protected, and Philadelphia retains 50% of Scott Laughton's salary. Let's see if there's any retained salary on the other deals. No, it does not look like it. And yeah, so honestly, I like this deal for Toronto. Maybe a little too much. They are retaining salary, so I can see why a first-round pick. Philly would be asking for that. Just get a good depth player, not too depth. They can play that third-line center role. Getting up a first-round pick for it. I like the deal for Toronto. Let's see how Scott Laughton's doing this year. I haven't really watched Philly too much, so 27.61 games. Yeah, I think he could be like a third-line player for Toronto. Add some depth to the forward group, and now here's the trade that everyone wants to talk about. It is the big one. It is Mikko Rantanen. Just Mikko Rantanen going the way of the Dallas Stars in exchange for Logan Stankoven, 2 conditional top 10 protected first-round picks and 2 third-round picks, 2026, 2028, 2026, 2027. So the first ones I list off for the first, and the next ones were the thirds. Yeah, Carolina wasn't going to be able to sign Rantanen. Might as well get something for him. They got an absolute haul for him. Logan Stankoven, who could be one of the top players, I think, in the league. I like him. In a few years, he could be one of those really good players. 2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks. I don't see them probably using those first-round picks. They might end up trading them, depending on how big their window is. So, yeah. I like this trade for Carolina, getting an absolute haul. I like it for Dallas. He signs an 8 years, $12 million extension. With them, they get their big superstar forward that they desperately needed because they were very good, just very compact, very just overall good team. They didn't have that superstar, and now they have that superstar that they can build and help carry them further in the playoffs. The next trade, the one that we thought could happen, but we didn't think it would happen in the division, is a conditional second-round pick in 2027 going to the Boston Bruins in exchange for Brad Marchand. Now, I like this deal for Florida. The second-round pick could become a 2027 or 2028 first-round pick if Florida wins the first 2 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs and Marchand plays 50% of the games. Boston also retains 50% of Marchand's salary. So, yeah, I like this deal for Florida. Boston, I feel like they could have got a little more even if he's aging, and they also retain 50% of his salary, but it could end up being a first-round pick. So I'll say could be good for both teams, especially because Boston needs a first-round pick right now. The Bruins also made another deal, sending Brandon Carlo to the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for Fraser Minten, conditional first-round pick, and a 4th-round pick. And they were saying 50% of Carlo's salary into Toronto's 2026 pick is top 5 protected, and the 4th originally belonged to Philadelphia Flyers. I like this trade for Boston, getting Fraser Minten, a first-round pick and a 4th-round pick, getting a good haul for Brandon Carlo. I like it for the Leafs. They build up their blue line that is kind of not too great right now. Chris Tanev looks pretty good. Morgan Riley, I'm pretty sure, is having a down year. Brandon Carlo, adding that to your blue line is really, really good. And I think that's it. That is the last major trade TSN has here. I'm going to scroll to see if there's a trade I want to talk about. This one, I feel like this should be a major trade. Charlie Coyle and a 5th round pick in exchange for Casey Middlestat, William Zellers, and a 2nd round pick in 2025. Yeah, just another selling. They get Boston gets a center, a guy who could maybe have a career resurgence with the Boston Bruins, and Charlie Coyle, the Colorado Avalanche, replace their 3rd line center and get Charlie Coyle along with a 5th round pick. They didn't really have to give up too much. Casey Middlestat, they gave up Bowen Byram for. I don't mind this. For them, Brandon Tatum for a 2nd round pick. I think that's a great trade for Winnipeg. Luke Shen, they also got him. Kuzmenko going to Los Angeles. Not sure if he's going to play too much. Philly retains 50% of the salary. Beauvillier for a 2nd. I already talked about the Susie deal, the Riley Smith deal. I like that for Vegas, getting Smith back. And yeah, that is it. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out these videos right here. This is the video from Monday, and this is the video from Friday. And make sure to subscribe. Be right down there. And I'll see you guys on Friday for another episode of the Quebec expansion team. See you guys.